Well, it's still pool season in Texas, but it's also iPhone season. And what does that mean? Well, I got the new 17 Pro Max, and I'm going to compare it to the previous 16 Pro Max. Let's check it out. So this year you can instantly tell which phone is which. This is obviously the 17 Pro Max, and this is the 16 Pro Max. The new camera bump is very distinctive, and it is much larger than the previous generation phones. Now, they feel about the same in your hand, though. The height is, I think, the exact same. It sure feels like it. The sides are the same. The thickness, I believe they are the same. They feel the same when you rub your hand across it, that's for sure. Obviously, except for this, the camera bump is considerably taller than this one. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty much like every phone before it, the same size phone. And so if you're worried about the weight or the size being too much different, if you upgrade from the 16 to the 17, they're not. But what about the 15? We'll throw that into the mix. The 15 is definitely smaller than 17, as it was smaller than the 16. And so if you put these side by side, see if you can see that in this camera here, it's about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch taller. And then of course the camera bump is considerably different. The 15 and the 16 were very similar with the camera bump, but as just mentioned, the 15 and the 16 were slightly different size. The 16 was, again, about 1/16 of an inch or so taller. And now the 15, when it first came out, the weight on this one was incredible. It weighs very little compared to its predecessor, like the 14. This one weighs about 5 or so grams more. And then this one, it feels very similar in your hand to the 16 Pro Max. The 17 does to the 16, but I believe it weighs a little more. So we'll check that out right now. All right, I got the trusty Amazon scale. We'll do the 15 first. And the 15 weighs 222 grams. The 16 Pro Max weighed 227 grams. So yeah, 5 grams more. And now, drum roll please, the 17 Pro Max weighs 231 grams. And so yeah, it weighs a little bit more as well. So each iteration of the phone has gotten a little bit heavier, which can be good and bad. Bad in the sense that it feels a little heavier in your hand. And then once you put a case on it, it really increases the weight. And my point of reference is really from filmmaking. So putting this in a gimbal, you'll need a little bit heavier duty gimbal. And then it might limit adding other accessories to that gimbal. Again, a case or a lens or a filter. And so the lighter phones do better. Now, if you had a Pro, not a Pro Max, then you probably wouldn't have any trouble. But these Pro Max phones usually push the weight limit of the mobile gimbals. So you might have to step up to a larger gimbal, like what I call a hybrid gimbal, to make it work. But overall, the weight difference isn't that much. But if you're coming from the 15 to the 17, then you will feel a little bit of difference, but not that much. Now, cases, I'm not even going to attempt. It's super obvious. This case is not going to work with that camera bump. In the past, I was able to get certain phones to work with another case. And the main reason I would do that is just an interim, because right now, no brands have their cases available, at least not the ones I use, like Sandmark or Reflex or Moment. These are both Moment cases. This one's for the 16 Pro Max, and this one's for the 15 Pro Max. And the nice thing about these Moment cases is they work with their quick lock filters. And so once you drop the phone in the case, you can quickly snap a filter on there, which is really great for mobile video and mobile filmmaking. Very portable, borderline everyday carry. I would say it is everyday carry. It's a little bit heavy, but not too bad. But right now, I have no way to put this in a case for my lenses or filters, but that'll be remedied soon enough. And once I get that, I'll do another video showing how those work with the various accessories. But right now, it'll be just shooting naked. So, and I gotta be honest, holding this phone, I've already dropped it once. I like having a case. And so I might actually pick up a temporary case just so I don't drop and destroy this phone. Now in the interim, I'll be using this Beast Grip Pro because it is a universal cage. It's one really nice thing about universal cages is, well, they're universal. And so any phone, Android or iPhone, will fit in them. They've made this for probably, I'm guessing here, I don't know, for sure 5 years, but I would say since 2017, and I've used it regularly since then. And with this is what I call the half cage configuration. There's another section that goes over here that you can put lenses on here, but I don't have it available right now, and I also don't use it very often. I really like the half cage configuration. It's just much more portable and easier to work with. And then if I'm using a case that has a lens mount on it, I can still put lenses here. But eventually I'll have the Beast Cage for the 17 Pro Max, and then I'll probably get the ones from Freewell and Small Rig, etc. Or another universal cage that I use a lot, and in my studio primarily, it's a MagSafe cage. These are really, again, great if you're shooting inside or if you're in a controlled environment, because the phone obviously just pops on and pops off with MagSafe, and it's a really secure connection. So you don't have to worry about the phone falling off. But if you're doing anything more advanced, you're out in the field, so to speak, putting accessories on here, then they're a little sketchy. But for simple stuff, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, again, just around a studio, a home studio, and it is a nice option. But again, these universal cages really work great, and you don't have to worry about getting a new one each year. And now the last thing I'll show in this video, and by the way, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that because I'm going to have a lot more videos about the new 17 Pro Max. But the last thing I'm going to show here is the new telephoto range. And that's one of the bigger selling points for me on this new camera was that it has a 48 megapixel telephoto and it has a longer range now. The basic longer range is 4 times now, which is actually shorter than the previous model, which was 5 times, but they now have an 8 times. And the 8 times is evidently optical quality, but it's doing some sort of digital magic from Apple. I don't know yet, and I'll test that in more detail. But I do want to compare this to the previous 16 Pro Max. All right, so I'm going to roll some video. This is the standard 24 millimeter, which is the same on both phones. That's the 2 times, which is the same again on both phones. Now here's the new Tele. That's the 4 times. I'm on the 17 Pro Max. And then here is the 8 times. And on the interface here, you get a little detailed view of what you're actually zoomed in on. So that's kind of interesting. That's probably an iOS 26 thing. Because by the way, and I'll do another video about this, if you notice, the interface is different now for the photo and video app. You've got a menu right here where you can choose the resolution, the log or HDR, the frame rate, kind of nice. And then everything's super clean. But it's the first update in quite a while. Photos the same way. It's also nice and clean. So that's the 17 Pro Max. Now we'll look at the 16 Pro Max. All right, here's the 16 Pro Max, and I'm still running version 18.2 or something like that. I have not updated this to iOS 26 yet, which threw me, by the way. I'm not used to jumping that far, but now they're doing it by year, so yeah, okay. Anyway, here is the 1 times, which should be the exact same as the 17 Pro Max. Here is the 2 times, the virtual camera, 48 millimeter equivalent. And now here is the 5 times. Now this is the older sensor, and so I think you're going to see more difference in photography than in video. That's how it was on the 16 Pro Max whenever it updated. The thing is now with the 17, you do get that longer reach with the 8 times. It's supposedly, again, optical-like. So I'll have to do some testing to see how it compares, for example, using an external lens versus the built-in telephoto. I'll be doing more 17 Pro Max videos very soon, including looking at ProRes RAW, Apple Log 2, and doing more detailed testing of the telephoto. Thanks for watching. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.